ready for some football. I don't know about you. Who else could it be but your man Lou? Yeah.
Who else could it be? Well, me, your man, Louie T. Welcome to Thursday Night Football Overtime. Packers, Cardinals. We got what we expected. The highest win percentage of two combined teams squaring off on Thursday Night Football in NFL history. 13-1 coming into the game. And we got a 13-1 type of affair. Packers hold on for dear life, 24-21, and even up the marks of the two teams leaving this game at 7-1, hand the Arizona Cardinals their first loss of the season. And as Joe Buck said during the telecast, this has huge playoff implications. Now, I've said all season long, I don't know about these Arizona Cardinals. And just as I started to come around, they do one of these moves on us. And, the news of J.J. Watt being injured definitely curtailed my excitement. But I still said, look, there's no Devontae Adams. There's no Alan Lazard. There's no Marquez Scantling Valdez, or Valdez Scantling, excuse me. What are we talking about here? Like, what are we doing? Javon Winfrey and Amari Rodgers and Randall Korn on the Cobb aren't getting the job done, okay? Josiah DeGuara isn't going to beat the Arizona Cardinals. Boy, I couldn't have been more wrong. I mean, what a performance by the Green Bay Packers. This was a total team win. A lot of people are going to attribute this win to Aaron Rodgers, and he was solid. He wasn't great in this game. But what was surprising to me was, one, the way that the Packers were able to control this game. I thought it was a great job of calling plays by Matt LaFleur. I thought he got a little cute down by the end zone a couple of times, though, where you have been running it down the throats of the Cardinals all game long. I didn't necessarily understand a couple of times where he just abandoned the run altogether down by the end zone. Now, it worked out for him on most occasions, but it did not on that final possession. They got stopped once, and he just said, okay, we can't run it in. But no, actually, they ran it on second down too, got stopped, and then threw it on third and fourth down. But that's nor here nor there. The bottom line is they were able to control this game with their run game. And that was shocking, because if I'm Arizona, I'm going to force Aaron Rodgers to beat me with these bums he's got at receiver. Sorry, not sorry. Javon Winfrey and Randall Cobb and Equanimous St. Brown and Amari Rodgers, they're going to have to beat me. Sorry. Not going to allow Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon to carve me up. You're going to have to find some other hero in this game. But it won't be them. And it was them tonight. That's really disappointing and disheartening if you're the Arizona Cardinals, because you can't ask for it any better than this. Short week. A lot of these guys don't get a chance to prepare. No Devontae Adams, no MVS, no Alan Lazard, and you can't get a win. But the exact thing that needed to happen for Green Bay happened. 3 Arizona Cardinal turnovers, 2 of which are right inside the 15-yard line. 1 is inside the 5-yard line. If not the 5 inside the 10, the other is inside the 15. So prime field position for the Cardinals to turn it over and give the Green Bay Packers great field position to score. And that they did. They got 10 points off of those 2 turnovers. So they needed that to happen. They needed the Arizona Cardinals to give them some breaks, to give them opportunities to hang in this game and win, and the Cardinals obliged. 2 turnovers by the rookie Rondale Moore, and then that back-breaking interception after the defense, who had been crushed all night, comes up with an improbable 4th down and goal line stand on 4 consecutive plays after it seemed like they had given up the touchdown on 1st down. It was overruled and overturned by replay, and they get the stop. Murray gets a big-time 3rd down conversion, and you get all the way down the field, and It's AJ Green. Had no idea what the hell was going on. He was as confused as all of us at home as he looked around wanting to know what the hell is going on. He's blocking, by the way. He's blocking. He thinks it's a run or a wide receiver screen to the other side of the field. He doesn't think he's involved in this play. Everybody except AJ Green got the play call. And this is why we call football the ultimate team sport, because 10 guys knew what the hell was going on the play. One didn't, and that resulted in an interception. That's all it takes, is for one guy to not know what the hell is going on, and everything can go haywire afterwards. That's where you miss DeAndre Hopkins. If I'm Arizona, I'm putting DeAndre Hopkins in that situation. I'm putting him one-on-one outside, and I'm throwing it to him. His hamstring may be hurt, but his hands are not, okay? He'll be able to get open, and you can throw it to him, and he'll go get it. I don't know what the hell AJ Green had going on there, but big play by Rasul Douglas to pick that thing off, have the presence of mind to see that AJ Green was all kinds of confused and baffled, and to tip that thing dead in the impact, corral it, get his feet down in bounds, and essentially secure the victory, preserve it for the Green Bay Packers, who come into Arizona and get an improbable victory. Again, I thought it was a masterful job of play calling by the Green Bay Packers, specifically Matt LaFleur, who I just thought had the Arizona Cardinals off balance all night, whether it was the quick game with the screens to keep them from blitzing or just flat out running the ball down their throats and really Arizona not having an answer for it. I just thought that he did a really good job of mixing and matching with personnel. Look, you don't have three of your top receivers in this game, so you got to spread the football around, and the tight ends got involved. They got the running backs involved in the pass game as well, and when they needed to, they were able to hit some receivers, whether it was Randall Cobb or Equinemius St. Brown on a key fourth down on one of their scoring possessions. So I just thought it was a really good job of them doing whatever it took to give them a chance. They knew they couldn't get into a shootout with Arizona. You know, you didn't want to go back and forth. They needed to shorten this game, and that's effectively what they did. I know this game ended damn near at midnight, but that was because of the injuries. We had a slew of them throughout the course of this game, and Green Bay burning all of their timeouts senselessly almost cost them the game. It really did. How about Aaron Rodgers putting his body on the line on that third down scramble down to the one? Are you kidding me? Even Aaron Rodgers put his shoulder down on three Cardinals defenders and drug them to the half-yard line. The Cardinals looked soft tonight. A.J. Dillon, and he's a big boy, okay? But A.J. Dillon ran him over a couple of times. There was a play where Aaron Jones muscled, I want to say it was Simmons into the end zone. No, it was Hicks, Jordan Hicks into the end zone. The Packers just looked like they wanted it more tonight than the Arizona Cardinals. And, boy, what a game. What a way to lose, though. Yikes. Worst case scenario, that game has to go to overtime. I'm thinking there's no way this Packers defense is getting a stop here. Not after they allowed them down there as close as they got. There's no way Arizona's not getting this thing in the end zone. And that, for the game to end in the fashion and manner that it did, wow. Unbelievable. You know, my wife was watching the game with me, and she said, you never bet against Aaron Rodgers. And I said to myself, you know what? You're right, except if it's the championship game. I'll take Aaron Rodgers in any game not named the NFC Championship. Take him in the wild card. I'll take him in the divisional round. I'll take him in any regular season game you got. Just won't take him in the championship game. But, man, he was good. He wasn't great tonight. The numbers aren't eye-popping. And what do you expect, again, when he's throwing the football to the likes of Javon Winfrey and Equinemius St. Brown and Amari Rodgers and Josiah DeGuara? What do you expect, okay? Numbers were definitely going to be off. Guys not knowing where to line up, having to burn timeouts, having to take a big-time delay of game. They still found a way to win the game. Unbelievable. If you're Arizona, you're kicking yourself. 3 turnovers. The thing I don't understand is on the first turnover, if you're Rondale Moore, you know you touched the ball. You know the ball touched your hand. What do you think? This is 1992? And you're going to just act as if you didn't touch it? There's no replay and nobody's going to know? Bro, we've got frame by frame, second by millisecond by millisecond shots of your hand being pushed back by the ball. You think we're not going to see that shit? We got it in 96 different angles, bro. Go run and get the damn ball. No, I didn't touch it. You know the ball touched your hand. I mean, if I was the coach, I want to slap his ass after that. Like, bro, you know you touched the ball. Go and get it or die trying. Then he has one. Now, that was on Kyler Murray. That shit had hot sauce to go on it. You know, I'm turning around for a screen. I'm not expecting a 98-mile-an-hour fastball with some late movement on it. Not expecting that when I turn around looking for a screen. Skips right off his hands and right into the waiting arms of Black. And that's another setup for some more points. And you give a team like Green Bay that kind of opportunity, you're asking for trouble. And so now, does this start a slide for Arizona? Because I've been waiting for the shoe to drop. I kept saying, and I started to believe. But now this injury to J.J. Watt, he was playing some good football. I don't know if there's a direct correlation to his injury and their inability to stop the run tonight, but that shit was embarrassing. They got little to no pressure on Aaron Rodgers. He had all day back there to throw the football. It was amazing because I listened to them talk, and they're talking about how Washington's defense did this to Aaron Rodgers and did this to the Packers run game and did this to the Green Bay Packers offense, and how Rodgers couldn't hit this play because he was under duress, and how many times Washington's defense hit him. And I'm thinking, damn, we played really good against them last week. And we did. And I'm looking at Arizona. I'm like, you should be able to do a lot of the same. And they couldn't. It was amazing. They were disgusting on defense tonight, were the Cardinals. I mean, the Packers had the ball 3 times in the second half. Just 3. And they scored on all 3 of scored on 2 of the 3 possessions and had the ball on the half-inch line on the 3rd possession. And the possession, when they got the football up 3, 24-21, Cardinals just scored the touchdown to cut it back to a 1-score game for the 2nd consecutive possession. I said, okay, this is the time they got to get the stop. And they let those boys march it right down the field. And I said, wow, they're going to lose this game. And I thought their Packers were going to score a touchdown, win this thing, 31-28. Maybe they score a touchdown late, but they can't recover an onside kick or something like that. But they got the stop. They had everything they wanted, and they couldn't get it in the end zone. Wow. What a finish. Big win for the Green Bay Packers because, as Joe Buck mentioned and I mentioned at the top of the show, this has playoff implications. If these 2 teams come down the wire and both of these teams are, 14-3, now Green Bay is going to be the number 1 seed. And this is huge. And again, Arizona, they're in a division where now they're tied. If the pending a Rams win on Sunday, if the Rams play, I don't know if they've got a bye week or not, but now they're tied with the Rams in the loss column. Now they have the season series right now. They beat them head to head, but still, this is a costly loss. It really is. And yet, again, I can't state this enough. You couldn't have had this served up on a platter better for you than what happened with the COVID situation with the Packers on a short week. You couldn't have had this served up any better for you, and you failed to take advantage. This feels like last year's Arizona Cardinals. The one that had a golden opportunity to make the playoffs and let the lowly San Francisco 49ers, quarterbacked by CJ Beathard, beat them to keep them from making the postseason. This feels like that kind of team, the one that can't get out of their own way. 3 turnovers against a short and wounded Packers team? Wow. Let's get to the comment section and see what you guys have to say about this game. It was a fun one with a tremendous finish. We got a super chat from Nick Caps. Thank you for the super chat, Nick Caps, and thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, This team beat Washington football team. Now the Cardinals. Maybe Washington football team's improving, like you said. Again, you don't want to, go to the law school. If this, then that, equation situation. If they beat the Cardinals, then that must mean then the Washington football team. No. There's not a direct correlation there. Only thing I can say is that Washington's defense played better, and that's one of the biggest takeaways from the game is that Washington's defense played better against Aaron Rodgers. It wasn't great. Rodgers still was 27 of 35 for 270 and 3 touchdowns, but they were able to stop the run, make the Packers one-dimensional, and get off the field for the most part on third downs. Not all the time. The Packers were still 6 of 12, which is 50%, which is not good, but it's an improvement. Thus, this is a situation that I look at and I say, it's a big win for the Packers. This Packers win tonight felt like 2020 Packers. Still not blown away by them by any stretch of the imagination, but to still not have Jair Alexander, to not have Zadarius Smith, and to go out there and really limit this Arizona offensive attack. Granted, they didn't have their best receiver in DeAndre Hopkins for the vast majority of this game, and that really hurt them. Still, we talked about this. They still got weapons everywhere. That's no excuse. You still got A.J. Green. You still got Christian Kirk. You still got Rondale Moore. You still got Zach Ertz. Still got Chase Edmonds. Again, list goes on and on. James Conner. Nobody's feeling bad for the Arizona Cardinals because DeAndre Hopkins is out. You got weapons everywhere. Figure it out. See what else we got. Derek B. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Writes, at the half, I had to look at the injury report to see if Ertz was even playing. How wasn't a target with D-Hop down was crazy. When he finally did, he made big plays. We need you to slow down on the comment there. Yeah. Ertz got targeted tonight. I never felt like he was invisible. They didn't have the ball a lot in the first half. That was the problem. Packers dominated the first half, time of possession wise, and the Cardinals were stagnant on offense. So, but Ertz, his presence was felt tonight. He made some big grabs, and I think some of those came in the first half too, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe that one where he caught it when it was kind of on his back shoulder, on the delay across the middle of the football field was in the second half on that, on an early third quarter drive maybe. But yeah, he was definitely a part of this game. See. Nick Cap says, I may have went to sleep on this. Nah, they want to sleep on. I had to play catch up. I was behind, but I sure did catch up right in time. Reese says, we're going to see one or both of these squads come playoff time. Not sure who I'd rather face. I would tell you that you would probably be better off facing, I'd say, the Green Bay Packers, honestly, just because of how you match up with them. I think you can get to Rodgers and fluster him like you did last year. I think you can stop the run and really make them one-dimensional and really make Rodgers uncomfortable, sort of like Washington just did. I could see you doing that. Against Arizona, they're so multi-dimensional. They didn't have their A game today. They didn't have their fastball. But if you catch them with their gun fully loaded offensively with DeAndre Hopkins out there, they're tough to deal with. Because, again, I just told you they can go 5 across the board. 4 receivers, throw Zach Ertz out there and just go empty. And with your secondary banged up the way that it is, you want no parts of that. So I take my chances with Aaron Rodgers, especially if it's an NFC Championship game. You'd probably be able to smoke those dudes again. Derek B writes, Cards came out and he said like they were the Browns. Started 5 out of 8 drives with first down runs. The other 3 drives with passes scored touchdowns. Stay in your lane. They thought they could run the football on them, and what it honestly, a lot of times when you see teams do that, sometimes, look, first of all, You stay in your lane. But I don't know if you caught this, and if you've been watching the Cardinals, you know this year they run the football. They got the third highest run percentage in the league, behind the two teams that you think it is, the Cleveland Browns and the Tennessee Titans. So they run the football. Okay, they are a team that looks to run the football. So don't get it twisted. They do run it, and that's not just because Kyler Murray is adding his name in the hat as a runner. It's because they're actually handing the football off to Chase Edmonds and to James Conner. That said, they also have been playing with leads this year. So that puts them in a position to, run the football, try to run the clock and get out of there. But at the same time, they do run the football. And the Green Bay Packers were giving them two deep safety looks, which meant light box, run the football. So you got to take what the defense is giving you. And they did that. So can't be mad at that. Storm writes, great game. Loved it. Man, did AJ Green cost his team today. Man should feel ashamed for a while about that one. Again, I mean, it's an honest mistake. He clearly didn't know what was called in the huddle. You can't have that kind of mistake at that juncture of the game, though. You need laser-like focus at that portion of the game when the game's on the line. But clearly there was a miscommunication. He had no idea what they were in, what they were doing, and he was blocking and didn't do a very good job of it, because if you're blocking, there's no way the guy that you're blocking should be able to pick the ball off. But clearly he didn't know what the hell was going on. Clearly. Reese says, Green Bay is now the second best team in the NFC behind yours truly. Yeah, I don't know if I would put Green Bay ahead of the Rams or this Arizona. If they played Arizona again with a healthy DeAndre Hopkins and they had their receivers back, I'd still pick Arizona again, I think. Like, I just don't believe in this Packers team. It's a hell of a win. I just don't, for whatever reason, again, this offense, not really sold on it. They played well tonight, though. I was so shocked at how well they were able to move the football. It was slow. It started slow, and they needed those turnovers to kind of jumpstart them, right? But they got those turnovers. They got some momentum, and then they got the ball rolling, and then they couldn't be stopped offensively. I don't know. Maybe I'm shortchanging the Packers. I might be shorting the Packers a bit, but I'm just not impressed. I'm not impressed. But this was impressive tonight. On a short week, shorthanded, this was impressive. But I still don't think they beat the Rams. I still don't think they beat Arizona with a healthy DeAndre Hopkins. And I don't think they beat Tampa Bay. Honestly, they may lose to Dallas. I don't know. I'm probably really disrespecting, especially with Aaron Rodgers at quarterback. I'm probably really being disrespectful right now. Because just off the strength of Aaron Rodgers, you probably win in a game against every single one of those teams except Tampa. Because I still don't trust Matthew Stafford in a big spot. He's never played in any meaningful games before. So I still don't trust him in a big-time spot to get it done. And, I mean, Brady's Brady, and the Buccaneers are, to me, still the class of the NFC. So, yeah, I still think that the Bucs are number one. I don't think the Packers are second, though. Not just because they won this game and Arizona lost. I still think that it's Arizona, Rams, and then Green Bay. Still, I think it's still Arizona, Rams, and then Green Bay. Niners fan says, if we had a competent offense, I would not be scared of the Cardinals. Our D knows how to slow them down. They can be beaten. Your defense, but that's family business. You know how that goes. Y'all know them like the back of their hand. That's why it's family business. Every time y'all play them, they scored 13 or 10 or 13 points. You beat them last year when they had everything to play for, and you had nothing to lose, nothing to play for. And they had everything to gain, and you went in there and you beat them. And then this year, they beat you guys 13-10. What was the score like? It was some low-scoring muck of a game. So, yeah, you guys know how to slow them down for sure. But like you said, your offense just isn't good enough. Niners fan says, great game, fast-paced, full of great offense, something I'm not used to this year. That was a fun game. I was literally at the edge of my seat on this one. Felt like the week 1 game with the Cowboys and the Buccaneers. And it felt like the Giants-Washington game. Like, to me, those are the 3 best games of the season so far, and they've all come on Thursday night, coincidentally enough. The Giants-Washington game, edge of your seat thriller. The Cowboys-Buccaneers, edge of your seat thriller. And this was an edge of your seat thriller. And I thought all 3 of those games were well played with turnovers, of course. The Washington game, not so much. There was 1 turnover at the very end by Taylor Heineke, but he was able to overcome it. But remember, the Bucs had like 3 or 4 turnovers in the game when they beat Dallas, which is what Dallas needed to stay in that game. And it's the same thing that happened tonight. The Packers needed turnovers. They needed help, and the Arizona Cardinals obliged. Yeah, it was a great game. I enjoyed that thoroughly. Derek B says 7-0, and the Cheeseheads take over your stadium on a Monday night. You deserve the L as a fan. Now, look, I was thinking something similar, but I also kept it in its proper perspective. The Green Bay Packers and the Pittsburgh Steelers fan base, and the Dallas Cowboys too, they travel better than anybody else in the league, especially Packers fans. They're everywhere, and they're not afraid to travel. So I wasn't shocked by that. Packers fans, Steelers fans, and Cowboys fans, they'll show up and take over your entire stadium. Those 3 fan bases in particular are rabid, and they're everywhere. So I wasn't shocked. I was not shocked that there were a lot of Packers fans. I was shocked at how many. It felt like at times it was a damn road game for the Cardinals. I did, check for a second because I thought I was tripping, like after an early punt, on a possession where they forced a punt, and I'm listening to the crowd like, are they cheering? Are they chanting for the Packers? Am I hearing "Go Pack, go"? Like, the hell is going on? I mean, every shot of the crowd, there was more green and yellow than there was red. And so I like you. I was like, this shit is embarrassing. You're 7-0, and again, it's West Coast, early start time. Obviously, game starting at 5 in the afternoon on the West Coast. Everybody can't get off work. Everybody can't be there. So you sell your tickets. I get that too. Had this been a Sunday night game, I'd like to think that there'd be less Packers fans in the stands. But this was a Thursday during the week, obviously a Thursday afternoon game, evening. It's tough. It's 5:15 when that game gets kicked off. That's rough for that crowd. So you got to keep that in its proper perspective as well. Got another super chat. This one is from Metaphor. Thank you for the super chat, Metaphor. Greatly appreciate you, my guy, Metaphor. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB Rights. Lou, not morning. You wearing your Cobra Kai Sensei gi. Hey. All I'm missing is the LouieTeeNetwork little sign on it, right? Yeah. Let's see. Let's get back to where we are or were. Here. Atlas writes, was about to come here and say Cards are once again the luckiest team ever, surviving on 3rd and 10, 4th and 4, etc. Then finally Lady Luck swings back around. This team is fraudulent. I wouldn't go as far as to call them fraudulent. Everybody needs luck. Okay. Every team needs luck. And luck is usually a byproduct of when, preparation and preparedness meet. You're prepared and you're ready for the moment and you're in the right spot at the right time, and then luck hits, you're ready to receive that luck. And so the Cardinals, they've had some scares this year, but they've made their own breaks as well, and like I said, everybody needs breaks. So, They ran out of it tonight. They had an opportunity. They made their break. They got the stop on 4th down. They got a 3rd and 10 from literally their own end zone, converted that, had a 4th and 4 that they converted with Zach Ertz. Green Bay converted one too. I mean, both these teams went back and forth, but they made all of their breaks. Nothing lucky about what happened tonight. To overcome 2 turnovers and to have a chance to win, that's big time football. Now, again, you shouldn't have found yourself in that position with Green Bay being as shorthanded as they were, but that's no here nor there. The bottom line is they put themselves in a position to win, and Green Bay's red zone defense that was once dead, I mean limp, dead, without a pulse just 2 weeks ago, now in the last 2 weeks have gotten 5 red zone stops after giving up 100% of red zone trips at 15 of 15 to start the season. Now, 5 out of the last 7 trips, they've turned teams away with no points, including a game-clinching interception to turn the Cardinals away. Look, that's big-time football. Big-time football. But you don't get to 7-1 playing fraudulent football. Never mind. I take that back. The Steelers were fraudulent last year, and they were 11-0. So, I mean, everybody saw through what the Steelers were doing, and we're like, look, this team isn't very good. And it finally caught up with them. Now, they had some injuries, too. And the Cardinals, they had some injuries tonight. And I did a podcast like a week or 2 ago, and I said, injuries, man, they can derail a season quick. And the Cardinals are starting to drop like flies. First, J.J. Watt, a short week. DeAndre Hopkins isn't 100%. That really hurt him. Really hurt him. Got another super chat. Kevin Ocat, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Kevin writes, please give it time for my Packers to get healthy and judge us. Then 4 all pro players out today, and we still find a way to win. Go Pack, go. I look, you've been asking for me to be patient with this Packers team, and I heard you loud and clear. I said I think I'm shortchanging them. I don't think I'm giving them their proper respect and their just due. Tonight was impressive, though. It was truly impressive. I'm still not sold. Okay, I'm not sold, but as you said and mentioned, you're missing some big time players: Za'Darius Smith, Jair Alexander, Bakhtiari at left tackle, and you're also missing, Devontae Adams. You're missing a ton of guys. I get it. I understand. You were missing a lot of players tonight, and you still found a way to win. That's what, the best teams in the league do. Shorthanded, no excuses. Find a way to get it done, and you did against the best team in the league. I mean, the Cardinals were undefeated. They were the only undefeated team in football, and you go there shorthanded and find a way to win. Super impressed with the Packers' ability to do that, but I'm still not impressed with them overall. But I was impressed tonight. But we're going to see about this Packers team. They still got a lot of big football games left this season, and I want to see how they play in these games. But still not sold yet. Still doesn't feel like 2020 to me, where I thought this team is winning the Super Bowl. I don't get those vibes from the Packers right now. But again, that could change. It could definitely change, subject to change. But I still don't have those vibes. But Kevin, you asked. I'm going to remain patient with this Packers team. I'm going to remain patient. Give them an opportunity. See where we left off at. Right here. Red Wings 01 writes, gave the term Injury Bowl a whole new meaning. Neither quarterback played particularly well. Aaron underthrowing dudes, Kyler overthrowing, and he was desperate to get that off on the last pick. Kyler Murray, the one thing I've always said about him, well, a couple of things. One, he does not like contact. He's so tiny. And because he plays the game the way that he does, sometimes you forget just how small he is. But then all it takes is for one instance, and it usually happens once a game, where it happened twice in this game, actually, where the first possession of the game, he gets face masked by Rashawn Gary, and he nearly rips Kyler Murray's head off. But Murray, because he's so tiny, that face mask literally picked him up off the ground. Like, both of his feet left the ground and he's suspended in air. Okay? He's so tiny. Then another instance is his guard gets blown back by Dean Lowry, and Kyler Murray goes flying like 6 yards and falls down. Matter of fact, it was like 6 yards. It ended up being like 2nd and 18, but he was already in the gun. So went flying like 6 yards and ended up getting sacked. Like, he's so tiny. And when he gets hit, every time he gets hit, I get nervous. He looks like he's in excruciating pain. That always worries me with him. So anytime you get pressure on him, you will get an Eli Manning no-look pass from him. But that wasn't what that last pass was. That was a mix-up, obviously, with A.J. Green. He was expecting back shoulder fade. A.J. Green was expecting something totally different. They weren't on the same page, and the end result was an interception. But to your point, neither quarterback played all that well. You look at the numbers. These quarterbacks were underwhelming in this game. Like I said, what was impressive with Green Bay is they were able to control this game with the run offense and the short passing game. You know, there weren't a lot of shots down the field. Everything was quick out of Rodgers' hands to really keep the Cardinals off balance. I thought they tried to give us a taste of what Aaron was going to get on that first possession. They were coming out with some all-out pressures, and they just didn't want to really subject Aaron to that. So you said, you know what we're going to do? Come with that damn blitz if you want to. We're going to throw right behind it with a screen. So they were screening them to death tonight. But that also was a byproduct of, hey, look, we got to find ways to manufacture offense because we don't have our receivers. So, again, I thought it was just a well-called game by Matt LaFleur. It was very balanced, kept the Cardinals off kilter, and I thought that they went out and executed. And you can look at some of those numbers for Rodgers and say some of those incompletions was just off of sheer, miscommunications with guys. He's expecting the guy to come flat. The guy's going up the field, drifting a bit, and so the ball's incomplete. He had at least 3 or 4 of those instances where you could tell not on the same page with Amari Rodgers or not on the same page with Javon Winfrey or one of these guys that he's throwing the football to. So neither quarterback was great, but I thought both quarterbacks did enough to give their team a chance to win. Metaphor writes, that was horrible to think. I changed my pick, disappointed to happy to Washington football team, typical Sunday feelings. Yeah. I was disappointed because I thought I was going to get the dub at the end, And as I'm watching the game, I'm like, man, I'm about to lose this game. When I thought Aaron Jones had scored to make it 31-21, I was like, that's it. They don't have enough time to score twice and come back and win. And, in saying that, I was like, man, every time the Cardinals play at home on primetime television, it's usually some kind of wacky, dramatic finish. And it's usually against Seattle. Anytime they're on Sunday night, it's usually against Seattle, and it's something crazy. Kyler Murray goes nuts, and they score, 40-something in overtime and win. I thought that was what was going to happen tonight. They're going to go to overtime, win the game. But then when they got all the way down, I'm like, no, they're going to win this thing. And it wasn't meant to be, so I take the L. But the one thing that I feel good about is that I feel like most people, because of the Packers being shorthanded, were scared away from picking the Packers. So I think I'm going to take that L with most people this week, so I don't feel as bad. But yikes. Not the way you want to lose that game for sure. Derek B says, D had nothing left by the time the Cards woke up. D gets the goal line stand, and O still let them down. That's rough. Again, because that D gave everything they had. Literally, like you said, that goal line stand was that was it. They had nothing left to give. And they gave it, and it was enough to give their team a chance. And Kyler Murray did his thing, got him all the way down the field. You know, it's going to go to his numbers. It's going to be charged to his account. But, you know, I put the first one interception-wise on his account. You know, can't throw a 98-mile-an-hour fastball there, like I said, with late movement, and expect your guy to turn around who's expecting, you know, a changeup because it's a screen, and you throw a fastball. Nah, that one's on Kyler Murray. That interception at the end, that's on AJ Green. But it's going to be charged to Kyler Murray's account, but that's on AJ Green. Derek B says, AJ Green bringing Bungles football to Arizona. I'm not going to allow for the AJ Green slander tonight. He's been really good for them this year. And again, it's a miscommunication. Shit happens. I've seen it happen multiple times. You never want to see it happen in that situation again. Game on the line. Everybody's got to be on the same page, one accord. Obviously, that did not take place and couldn't have come at a worse time. Jonathan Hankey says, holy shit, what a great way to end a thrilling game. Definitely was a thrilling game, and who saw that coming? How often is it that a game like this ends with an interception? Normally it ends with, you know, the team driving, scoring a game-winning touchdown and breaking the hearts of the opposition. How often is it that the team that is on the ropes, barely holding on, referee's about to step in, wave his arms and call the fight off, finds a way to then land a punch of their own, stagger the guy, and ultimately knock them out and win? How often does that happen? Not very, but it did tonight. Reese says, Arizona needed some humble pie. They realized that their shit does indeed stink. And I don't think they ever felt like it didn't, but they were kicking some ass, man. There were some games this season where you go, whoa. Like at Tennessee week 1, that was an eye-opening moment. But I'm like, it's week 1. Caught Tennessee slipping. Shit happens. You know, but then the one that did it for me was at the Rams. I'm like, whoa. Rams had already beaten Tampa Bay earlier in the season. You're thinking the Rams might be the best team in the NFC. And they get a mud hole stomped in them by Arizona in LA. And I'm like, oh, you weren't playing around. Then they go to Cleveland and destroy and dismantle and disassemble the Browns. Even though the Browns aren't all that, I'm still like, you got to respect the Browns. They didn't respect them. They disrespected them in their house. Defecated all over their place. I said, okay, maybe they are for real. This right here, though, what they did tonight, this is why people like myself have been apprehensive in going all in on the Cardinals, because that Jacksonville game still exists. And games like this are always right around the corner with the Arizona Cardinals. Always. Same thing with that San Francisco 49ers game where they won like 13-10. Those types of games are always right around the corner with this team. And that's why you go, I got my eye on you. I'm not sure about you yet. Gregory Lightbody says, did you count how many times they mentioned Washington in the game? I did. I mentioned that early in the show where they made me feel like our defense was last year's defense. But granted, I felt good coming out of the game. You know, I told you, we literally turned off the Russian faucet last week. If you didn't know better, you say, did Aaron Jones play? 6 carries, 19 yards. Did he play? I remember I said that in overtime. I said that on Monday's show, Washington Football Nightly. I'm like, Aaron Jones, non-factor. A.J. Dillon, non-factor, forced him to fumble. Aaron Rodgers got after him, hit him, made him uncomfortable, still went 27-35 for 270 and 3 touchdowns. Got to make sure I throw that in there. He still played well, but we really had them under wraps. And if our offense had showed the hell up in the red zone, that was a game there that could have been stolen. I don't want to hear anything about, oh, well, if they would have scored, then we would have woke up and this, that, and the third. I don't want to hear that shit. Because if the Packers were capable of scoring 48, they would have put 48 on our heads. Ain't nobody turning off switches because they think they got a game in hand. And teams are trying to run the checkup every week. I think the Patriots are thinking, well, we have enough points. We don't need to score 54 in the Jets. Hell no. If I can score 80, I'm going to score 80. We running the checkup. So to hear them reference Washington 80 times tonight, well, Aaron Rodgers wanted to go to this play over the middle to Robert Tonyan last week, and they had him, but it was too much pressure in his face. I'm like, was it really? Yeah, Rodgers was under duress. They hit him a lot last week. This offensive line was not good against Washington a week ago. You don't say. Aaron Jones was a non-factor. The Packers only had 59 rush yards against Washington a week ago. Their run game was ineffective. You don't say. It's like music to my ears. Still doesn't matter. We lost 24-10. But anyway, I digress. HHC Lunar writes, never mind on this year's Cardinals suck. Soft. You guys overreact so much. It's one game. It's one game. And it's not one game against Jacksonville and they lost. It's one game against the Green Bay Packers who came in at 6-1. Now, granted, they were missing half of their squad, but it's still Aaron Rodgers. They weren't missing Aaron Rodgers. They weren't missing Aaron Jones. They had enough. And they got contributions. They got turnovers from Arizona. Arizona turned it over 3 times and only lost by 3 points. I get it. Aaron Rodgers didn't have his full complement of weapons, and they had guys out. Arizona had guys out. The bottom line is they had their best receiver out. Arizona had their best receiver out eventually. You could argue one of their best pass rushers in J.J. Watt was out. Chandler Jones was first game back. He wasn't 100%. And the Packers had their best pass rusher. I mean, both teams were banged up. Both teams had guys out. Packers had a few more out than Arizona did. Bottom line is they turned it over 3 times. You can't win in this league like that. You generally don't. They almost did with 2. But 3, that's a bit too much. HHC Lunar says, Cardinals dropped this one at home with no Devontae Adams. This is disappointing. I agree. It's disappointing on their part, but it's also impressive on the part of the Packers. Like, let's not make this out to be Arizona just not getting it done. The Packers, they took it to them. The Packers took it to them. They ran it down their throats. They made timely conversions on 3rd and 4th down. And, up until that final drive, they made the big plays in the football game, did the Packers. So I don't want to just dismiss the Packers win and say, oh, the Cardinals, what a shame. They turned it over 3 times, and the Packers didn't have this guy and that guy and that guy. They should have won, and they didn't. No, they didn't. But the Packers also went out and played a hell of a football game. They had a great plan to shorten the game to give themselves a chance. Metaphor says, typical Kyler gets injured halfway through the year, and the nagging injury will spiral their season. I can see it happening. He's been dealing with some things the last couple of weeks. He was not 100% like 2 weeks ago. He didn't look 100% last week. And you could see his finger was bandaged up. And, he was limping at one point. Every time they lose, he's on the field after the game, on the ground for an extra, 2 minutes. And I'm like, bro, get the hell up. Nothing's wrong with you. Get your ass up. Get on the sideline. Every time they lose, it's like he's so dramatic. Oh, hand on his head, and he's like he's hurt. Get off the field. Get off the field. But I told you guys this. I always worry about Kyler Murray. Always. He's just so tiny. HHC Lunar writes, Cardinals got our hopes up. This team needs reconstruction. They are too old to win. They beat bad teams and lost to a fraud Packers team. Again, huge over-exaggeration. Huge over-exaggeration. Again, that's one of those all the way at one end of the spectrum type of takes, almost to the point where it feels like you're trolling. See where we are. HHC Lunar says, this feels like Alabama from last year. Just hand the Bucks the NFC. No one is going to come close to stopping them. I disagree with that. The Bucks are really good, but as we saw, the Rams beat them and beat them pretty handily. Granted, they had a lot of guys out in the secondary that week. No excuses. I mean, some of those guys in their secondary aren't coming back this year. They're going to have to figure it out. But I don't think the Bucks are miles ahead of the upper echelon. Like, you put an inferior team in front of the Bucks, and they're going to beat the brakes off of them. But I think if you put good teams in front of Tampa Bay, you can slow them down. I mean, we saw what Dallas did. Granted, it was week 1. We saw what Dallas did. We saw what the Rams game looked like. When they've played solid football teams, they've been in a dogfight. You know, they were in a dogfight with the Atlanta Falcons. It's family business. You know how that goes. It was 28-25. And then the Falcons imploded with the help of the Buccaneers, of course. A couple of pick sixes in that fourth quarter, and they scored 21 unanswered and run away and hide with that game. But that was a 3-point ball game in the fourth quarter. So I don't think this Buccaneers team is invincible. Can't be beaten, can't be touched. You got to catch them on the right week, and you got to be able to get to Brady. You got to be able to really fluster him and make him uncomfortable. If he's got time with the weapons they have, it's tough. The thing that I feel like is different with Tampa this year, I'm not blown away by their defense this year. You know, I was never really blown away with their defense last year either. They got hot in the postseason. I felt like I was never really blown away by Tampa's defense. And so I think you can score in the Buccaneers. But the problem is, can you stop them from scoring? So I don't think you just hand it to Tampa. I think Tampa's really good. But so is Dallas. So is Green Bay. So are the Rams. So, is Arizona. Like, the NFC is top heavy, as it's been mentioned numerous times. I'm not the only one to be saying this. It's easy to see that everybody in the NFC has one loss at the top of the NFC pecking order. Everybody in the AFC has 2 losses. Nobody has 1 or no losses in the AFC. Everybody's got 2 losses. But everybody in the NFC has 1. Part of that is a byproduct of the conference just as a whole being bad, which is why the AFC has more wins, because they're playing the NFC conferences and gobbling them up. And the NFC teams at the top of the food chain are gobbling up the bad teams in the NFC as well. So that's why there's so many 1-loss teams in the NFC and so many good teams like 4 and 5 and 6 win teams in the AFC, because they're playing bad teams in the NFC and they're playing a couple of bad teams in the AFC. So it's always been this way. The good teams feast off the bad teams. That's how they eat. That's how they eat. You're not playing great teams every week. Alabama doesn't play Georgia every week. They get to beat up on Mississippi State and Southwest Saginaw Valley State. Get to beat up on those teams every once in a while. And every now and again, they get a big one on the calendar. LSU, Ole Miss, if they're good. Every now and again, there's a big one. But for the most part, they're beating up on Vandy, smoking them. So Tampa's doing the same thing. They beat up on the little sisters of the poor. That's what the good teams do. But that's not what Green Bay's been doing this year, which is why I haven't been sold on Green Bay. Like, you put an inferior team in front of Tampa, they spank them. That same Bears team, the Packers struggled with them 2 weeks ago. I mean, they were losing in that game late in the third quarter. The Buccaneers were up 31-3 at halftime against that same Bears team. Like, that's why I keep saying I don't believe in the Packers yet. And I'm not writing off Arizona because they lost today, because I've seen them beat up on some teams this year too. That's what the good teams do. HHC Lunar writes, Cardinals would get pushed around by every good team They had no quality wins, beat a bunch of frauds, not a real team this year. Shaking my head. I don't agree with that. So the Rams aren't a real team then, in your estimation, I guess. Going to LA and destroying the Rams, that counts for nothing. Destroying the Browns in Cleveland, again, I don't know how good the Browns are or aren't, but that doesn't mean anything. Tennessee Titans, one of the best teams in the AFC. Them going to Tennessee and totally emasculating them in their house means nothing. Not a good team. Gotcha. Azad 77. The Packers shut every doubter right now. Down half their great players and still deserved and won the game. This is why Aaron Rodgers is the best quarterback in NFL. He is now 7-0 without Adams. Aaron Rodgers is awesome, but this wasn't an Aaron Rodgers. Like, this isn't one of those games you come back and he's a bad man. This isn't one of those games. This wasn't an Aaron Rodgers win. This was a really good job of managing the game by Aaron Rodgers. This wasn't, oh my God, did you see that throw in the third quarter? This wasn't that game. Okay. This was Aaron Rodgers trying to survive with, as you mentioned, a depleted roster of offensive weapons and young guys that didn't even know where to line up. He was just trying to survive. He was in survival mode tonight. And he did a hell of a job of navigating through that. A couple of delay of games, some burned timeouts. He found a way to get through it. But this was about a team effort from the Green Bay Packers, really limiting that Cardinals offense, especially in the first half. Their run game being exceptional, taking some of that pressure off of Rodgers. If the Packers had the same rushing attack they had a week ago against Washington, they lose this game because that would have put the onus on Rodgers to have to convert some 3rd and 8s, some 3rd and 9s, and have to throw it 45 times tonight. They weren't going to win in that kind of a ball game. They needed Rodgers to be able to lean on the run game and have that be a crutch, and it was a massive crutch for Aaron Rodgers tonight. And so Rodgers, don't get me wrong, spectacular quarterback. This wasn't an Aaron Rodgers night to be praising and lauding him. He did enough, but this was more about a team win. The defense stepping up, making some plays, forcing some turnovers, 2 to be exact. Special teams recovering a turnover, and Rodgers and company taking advantage of that, and the run game being exceptional, and Matt LaFleur calling an excellent game, keeping the Cardinals off balance and shortening the game. The Packers got the football with 10 minutes and 48 seconds left in the fourth quarter, and the Cardinals didn't see the ball again until just a shade over 3 minutes left. That's the shit the Packers were doing in this game. Juan Gotti Talking Sports says, Lou he said, what the hell is an equanimous? They're eccentric, are the St. Browns. You got Equanimous and you got Amara. I forgot. When he was at Notre Dame, they actually told us what it meant, but I forgot. HHC Lunar says, this Packers team would get blown out by Tampa. They beat a fraudulent Cardinals team. I'm still not impressed. I think you've exceeded your fraudulent usage for the night. I'm not impressed either, though. I agree with you on that front. I was impressed with the win tonight. I'm not still overly impressed with the Packers. But as my guy Kevin O said, patience, grasshopper. We still got a lot of guys out. Wait till we get our full complement of studs back and then judge us. Okay. I will. Reese says, pretty crazy how well Aaron Rodgers is playing when it is abundantly clear he doesn't want to play for Green Bay. I mean, what is he supposed to do? Quit? I mean, what do you want him to do? The man still wants to play football. If he wants a job next year and he wants to play for someone else, doesn't he have to play well so someone else is willing to do what Tom Brady did and give him an opportunity to come in and be the general manager? Sure. I mean, he can't just say, yeah, I don't want to play here. I'm going to stink it up. Juan Gotti Talking Sports. Lou, I think I asked before, don't remember, who'd you rather have, Mike Sellers or Darrell Young? I love both of those guys, but I think I was more of a Mike Sellers guy. But Darrell Young was fun too, but I was more of a Mike Sellers guy. Jonathan Hankey says, hold on. Says, man, if I'm a Cardinals fan, I'd be livid right now. LOL. I mean, you're 7-1. Yeah, you could be pissed off, but you're 7-1. You know, so you never want to lose a game, and definitely don't want to lose that way. I get it, but I would be more upset at the fact, not that we lost, but we lost to a shorthanded Green Bay team. I'd be more upset about that and the fact that we turned it over 3 times and we did the things that they needed to have done to have a chance to win this game. We literally obliged to every single thing that they asked of us. Hey, we need y'all to let us run the football, shorten this game. Check. Hey, we need y'all to allow us to spread the ball around, not put a lot of the onus on Aaron Rodgers. Let the running backs, tight ends, receivers all get involved. Check. Hey, we need some turnovers. We can't do this by ourselves. All right. We'll take 2, but 3 would be lovely, but we'll take 2. Check. Like everything that the Packers needed to have done in this game with the assistance of the Arizona Cardinals, they got assistance. That would be the thing that probably would frustrate me the most. Metaphor. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Metaphor. Right. This was a LaFleur 70-30 win over Aaron. This was definitely LaFleur's play calling. But again, he knew with them being shorthanded, guys not even knowing where to line up. How many times did Josiah DeGuara run to the wrong side of the formation, have to sprint over to the other side, get set just so they could snap the damn ball? On the delay of game, he's all the way on the wrong side of the formation, runs over. He's still got his hands out like, hey, Equanimous, what's the play? He's like, dude, just stand there. Just turn around and stand there. And Aaron's like, we got to delay a game. We don't have no more timeouts. So, I mean, you got to deal with that kind of stuff. You knew that Matt LaFleur was like, all right, I got it. I'm going to take care of this. If they allow us to run it, I got it. And they did, and he took care of it. All right. We passed our hour mark, so we'll take a couple more comments. And we'll get out of here. Red Wings 01 writes, when I said they didn't play particularly well, I meant by their standards. By most standards, they were solid. I somewhat knew what you meant. I mean, neither one of them, I agree with you. I wasn't disagreeing with you. Neither one of them really played well, you know. And again, like you said, by their standards. I talked about Kyler Murray as a potential MVP candidate, and we know what Aaron Rodgers is, but we knew what he was dealing with tonight as well. I thought Murray particularly wasn't sharp, though. You know, Rodgers gets a built-in excuse because he's throwing to a guy that was on the practice squad, you know, just 2 days ago in Javon Winfrey. He's throwing to a rookie who they really haven't tried to integrate into the offense in Amari Rodgers. He's throwing to Josiah DeGuara, who only was in because of the injury, and I'm waiting for the update there. That didn't look good. I'm hoping it's not a season ender for Robert Tonyan. I mean, golly, he was playing so well. And he's such a big part of their offense. But I loved Josiah DeGuara coming out of Cincinnati. I told you guys he was going to be good. I was shocked that Jay Sternberger didn't work out for Green Bay. I just thought he was going to be an excellent pass catcher for them, but for whatever reason, it didn't work. But Josiah DeGuara is another guy that can catch the football and make some things happen. And you saw that tonight if you could figure out where the hell to line up. So they got some stuff, but Rodgers was dealing with some some mishaps and a lot of young guys and just inexperience. So you had a feeling he was going to struggle a bit. Murray, on the other hand, without DeAndre Hopkins, still had, as I mentioned, I went down the list of weapons. That's you don't get an excuse when you have all those guys to still get the football to. And he had a wide open Christian Kirk over the middle of the field, splitting down the seam of cover 2, and he overshot him. And honestly, he should have been throwing that football closer to the middle of the football field, away from the safety. He let him up the field towards the safety. So I didn't think Murray was his sharpest tonight. This wasn't one of his better games. So, like I said, I agree with you. I didn't think they were particularly sharp. And like you said, they were solid, by anybody else's standards, but these guys are held to a higher standard. They're some of the best in the league, and you expect better. So. Azad77 writes, the only reason A-Rod didn't have eye-popping stats was because of the inexperience from the wide receivers. The amount of drops today and not being in the right place spot was absurd. I don't disagree with that. You're not wrong. There was a lot of miscommunication, a lot of he was thinking the guy was going to be here. He should have been there, and he wasn't, So, again, that was to be expected when you're playing with some of the guys he played with tonight. So, to find a way to get it done, yeah. It was definitely really, really impressive. Reese says, all great pass rushers need a running mate. Chandler Jones is great, but without J.J. Watt, he struggles. All great rushers need a right-hand man. Not all rushers do, but you would like to. In today's NFL, you want to have a running mate. I always said it was better to have tag team back again. You always want that other dude on the other side. But, Chandler Jones got 20 sacks with nobody on the other side before. And I know you don't know this, Reed, because you haven't been watching a ton of Arizona Cardinals football, but they do still have Marcus Golden, who's playing excellent football. Living my life like it's golden. Living my life like it's golden. Living my life like it's golden. He's playing exceptional ball this season for the Arizona Cardinals. So there's still another dude you got to worry about on the other side. It just would have been nice to have Golden, Watt, and Chandler Jones all on the field at the same time. Would have really been ferocious up front. But obviously that's not going to happen, more likely than not. Now, Captain Spartan says, any defensive lineman you think the Cardinals and Chargers can go after at the trade deadline to help them stop the run? Apparently, we're shopping Melvin Ingram. Is he a possibility? Well, apparently the Chiefs wanted him, and they've made an offer, but the Steelers don't want to trade him to an AFC team. So I don't know of anybody that's interested in the NFC. I think he's a better fit for a 3-4 defense. Not a ton of those in the NFC, at least not any teams that are really good, at least. So I don't know. It'd be interesting to see what happens with that situation. If you're the Steelers, you need to get over it and just get something for him. Like, I know you don't want to trade him to an AFC team, but if they're the only ones calling, you need to move this guy. He's definitely not, fitting in Pittsburgh, and there's not a real role for him. So move on, get something for him, and keep it pushing. As far as the Chargers, they need a big body, man. They need to get some more girth up front. I said this at the beginning of the season when Washington was preparing to play them in week 1. They're light up front. You can run against them. I didn't realize it would be this bad, though. Like, they cannot stop the run. So I'm pretty sure there are some hired guns out there, some guys that can stop the run that may be available that they should check on. But I don't know if they're going to look to make a move or not. Honestly, we'll see. Reese says, neither Green Bay nor Arizona is going to be the 1 seed. That spot is reserved. Maybe it is. We'll see. I think your road to the number 1 seed is going to be a lot tougher than you think. I'll just say that. I think you lose 2 or 3 more games this season. And I think somebody in the division gets you. That somebody's probably going to have to be Atlanta. It could be the New Orleans Saints. I don't want to discount them. You have them this week, but it's at your place, or it's at New Orleans, excuse me. So we'll see how it goes. If they don't beat you in New Orleans, they probably won't beat you in Tampa. But the Falcons gave you a run when they still didn't know they were any good. And now Kyle Pitts has realized, hey, I'm the shit. And eventually they're going to start getting something out of Calvin Ridley, and all of a sudden that offense could come alive. And I think they might actually give you a run in Atlanta. So I remember last year they had you on the ropes in Atlanta and let you off the hook. They were up big and blew it. So I wouldn't be shocked if Atlanta gets you, but I'm not going to discount the Saints because they can play defense. I don't think they've got enough offense to beat you personally, but we'll see. We will see. Anyway, that is going to do it for me. We've passed our hour mark, and we'll get out of here, and we'll see what happens. This is a great start to the week. After the week of football we got last week that was just funky as it could be. To get off to a start like this with a compelling game. I told you all three of the primetime games look juicy. Juicy fruit. Juicy. All of them look juicy. And it started off well. We get a Sunday night dandy with the Cowboys at the Vikings. Both teams coming off of a bye, so they should be refreshed and ready to go. And then Monday, it doesn't look like it on paper record-wise, but Giants, Chiefs, that's two desperate football teams right there, man. So that one has a chance to be actually better than you think. So looking forward to all that this week has to offer. Some desperate teams squaring off against one another. Some good games. I think this has a chance to be a really good week. Maybe we see an upset or two. I don't know. We'll see. But we'll talk about it tomorrow at great lengths on the Louie T Network podcast. Hopefully you'll be able to join me. I'll give you my picks. We'll talk about the trade deadline and then some. So looking forward to chopping it up with you guys today, I guess. We're already past the midnight hour here on the East Coast. So that's going to do it for me, your man, Louie T. Get off the bench, get in the game, and kick it with me, your man, Louie T. Until next time, I'm your man, Louie T, signing off. Green Bay Packers go to Arizona, short-handed and all. No Devontae Adams, no Jair Alexander, no David Bakhtiari, no Zadarius Smith. No problem. They still win. No Allen Lazard. They get it done 24-21. And now the 72 Dolphins can pop the top on the champagne. Arizona Cardinals weren't going undefeated anyway, but there are no more undefeated teams in the National Football League. And so the Dolphins' perfect season remains intact for another year. You guys have a good one. God bless and good night.
Louie T Network.